What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you. This is the movie poster, new Elvis movie, which just came out. We just saw here at the South Center AMC Theater, right here, the favorite theaters we like to go to. Got to catch up with my parents; they're actually walking ahead of us. But I thought, since my dad is the biggest Elvis fan I know, I wanted to get his review of the film we just watched with Tom Hanks and who's the guy played Elvis? Austin Butler. So my dad's on the phone right now, so waiting for him to get off the phone. There's my folks.
Okay. We'll talk about that, yeah. Yeah, that would be
As soon as he gets on the phone, we'll do our review. But look at this. Beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest, sunny skies. It's gonna be pretty warm today. I don't see a cloud in the sky right now. Take a close look. You don't see that in Seattle very often. It was pretty nice yesterday. It was even nicer today. But we won't be here for much longer since we are just a few hours away from heading out of town, Indianapolis, for the volleyball national championships over there. What's up, Seattle Seahawks? Darren Snodgrass, Master Binks says, hey, even though this is a biopic, this isn't going to be a spoiler kind of review, is it? Because I'm going to see the movie tomorrow. There's nothing really to spoil because we all know what happens to him. I'd say probably the one thing is more of the details of the relationship between the manager and Elvis. I didn't know much about that, and it really focuses on that. So if you don't want to know about that, then you may want to, hold off if you're concerned about being spoiled. But I don't think it's going to be like that. This isn't a movie with twists and surprises that you would be, shocked by anything that happens in the movie. But waiting for my dad, still on the phone over there. As soon as it's off, we will do this review. People don't like that it's long, but I'm an Elvis mega fan, so I need so much of him. So. So my initial reviews, I liked it. I liked it. It was well done. I can probably talk more about I thought from a technical standpoint, because when you're doing a movie that is a true story based on a real person, and you have to reenact the character and a period piece. There's a lot of different ways you can, what parts of the story and his life that you can focus on. How far do you want to go back in the childhood, or do you stay with kind of just the career? They kind of bounce back and forth a little bit. But I like the overall style. They kept it moving. It was very fast paced. A lot of really good visual elements that they did with just things like from record spinning transitions to photos to articles. It was very visually dynamic. So the director did a good job of kind of keeping things paced fast and visually entertaining. They even found a way to work in kind of some, even though this is a period piece that takes place between the 50s and the 70s, they would work in some rap in there in a way that it didn't feel like, why is there a rap song in this video? But they would do it in a way that it kind of just blended in with the soundtrack. Alina, what's going on? Seeing it Saturday, says Colby. Worth the watch? 2.5 hour run time seems like it could be a little much. I always find it funny that people complain about the length of a movie. For me, it's like, well, you're paying the same amount, whether it's a 90-minute movie, an 80-minute movie, or a 2-hour and 30-minute movie. So to me, you're getting more movie for your buck. As far as I'm concerned, as long as the movie doesn't feel like you're just, not interested in the story, or it paces too slow. And like I said, the pacing is good. So I didn't feel like the show was long. I didn't even know what the running time was before I even looked. So I didn't even pay attention to it. And it didn't feel like it was running long. So I don't think that was an issue at all for me. Was Drew Lock in the theater? Yeah, you're right. I don't know. There was only like the three of us and maybe one or two other people in the theater. There's five of us. It felt like a private screening of the Elvis movie because not too many people watch movies at 9 o'clock in the morning. But here he is. The number one Elvis fan has entered the building.
I just entered the building.
All right.
The car. Oh wow, that was a wonderful movie.
Yeah, I was curious to get your take. Obviously, as we discussed going before, I heard some interviews and things, but we knew this was going to focus not just on the Elvis character, but really more the dynamic of him and his manager.
No, he got all the more from Elvis. He's a very good actor.
The acting was really good.
I am not familiar with him, but he actually looks like Elvis too.
Yeah, when they did the makeup and stuff, they did a pretty good job.
I mean, he really did a good job. That is a wonderful movie. If you haven't watched it yet, of course you haven't watched it yet.
It just came out yesterday. So, but I see a few people watching this are planning to, and in fact, some people are asking. So, if we listen to your review, is it going to spoil anything in the movie? I don't think so.
No.
Unless you don't know much about, as I did, don't know much about the relationship between the manager and Elvis and kind of how that, how things progress over time. That may be something you want to experience in the film.
Yes, but just imagine how they were able to put things together. The nice story about Elvis' life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really appreciate it more than ever now, because I had a chance to actually watch or know more about what happened.
Yeah. Did you know much about that character, the manager, Colonel Parker?
All I know was that he was instrumental in making Elvis famous.
Yeah, he discovered him basically, and that is well covered in the movie.
Yeah, that's what's very important. They didn't show much when Elvis was in Germany, for example.
Yeah, they kind of just touched on that a little bit.
Or when he died, they didn't show anything that was kind of sadding.
They were slowly ramping up to, obviously you could see the writing was on the wall when his addiction, a well-known addiction to painkillers and things like that.
All his songs, I understand from that interview I was able to listen to, they were never recordings. This guy sang all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it says no video, no nothing. So they made a wonderful thing, as far as Elvis singing and performing.
Yeah, he actually talked. He talked and sounded, and even vocally in the song sounded a lot like him. So I thought he voice-wise did a pretty good job.
Voice-wise, he was good. Yeah.
At the very end, they did, as you would expect, when the movie was over, they did start to transition and show some of the real Elvis in there, and a little bit of him singing. But that was kind of at the end when the ending was wrapping up.
Yeah.
Before he died, because he performed that, and he was
yeah, that was his last.
All the songs.
The last performance he had, so we got a little glimpse of.
That's what they said. Yeah, we didn't watch the last performance. I mean, I never saw it, but he did sing that. Ebb died.
Mm-hmm. Or the I'll always Unchained Melody.
Yeah, Ebb died. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Unchained Melody. But
he said that he could even barely stand.
Yeah, that's how out of bad health he was. Yeah, he had gained a lot of weight by then. He was 42 years old when he died.
Right.
I kind of remember. I vaguely remember that time because 1977. I was in third grade, and let's see, that was also the same year Star Wars came out. So there was a lot I remember about that year. Star Wars and the death of Elvis. I think we were even watching the funeral procession on TV somewhere.
Right.
We might have been at a friend's house. I remember we were all tuned in on that, and and I didn't really know the magnitude of who he was at the time. I just knew it because I'd heard some of the songs that, as I mentioned before, playing on the 8-track at home. I think we were playing that music, and we must have been playing that already before he died.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you had that tape playing.
Yes.
I think you got that before he passed away. So I was familiar
I
with
got
his
long
music.
plays. I got the 33 RPM of Elvis.
Hmm.
You know, that was a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was well done.
I
Kudos to
I
the
don't
actors
think
and the
Mom
director.
ever fell asleep though, did she?
If mom
How about
stays
you,
awake,
Rob?
if mom stays awake, then that's always a good sign it's a good movie. Because my mom tends to fall asleep a lot, especially well, so do I sometimes. But especially during mind-numbing action movies, my mom will be out in
Oh
a
yes.
second. But if it's a good character, well-written story, my mom usually stays awake for that. So I had a couple moments where my eyes got heavy, but I didn't, fall asleep. I just had a couple of moments like, ooh,
Oh, I see.
heavy eyelids. But that was all.
I was
Um,
looking forward to him singing some songs. You know, all these songs. You know that Little Richard thing?
oh yeah,
That
yeah,
was Little Richard.
right.
And he was as crazy as Elvis,
Oh yeah.
actually. But, you know,
They made a little, they had BB King. They had
and
different
B.B.
characters that
King
were influential in the
and
rhythm and
Mahalia
blues
Jackson.
world. Yep. They kind of made cameos, not the real characters, obviously, portrayals of those characters,
Right,
but how
because
they
he died
influenced
already.
his life um, and his music.
And they were actually portraying how he got involved in gospel music.
Hmm.
And I thought that was kind of very interesting. You
Did you watch any of those TV shows that were live
know.
at the time that they broadcast? Because they had several in the movie that were
I've
shown.
seen
The Christmas special, the what was the one where he was not Ed. It wasn't Ed Sullivan show. It was another
oh
show,
yeah,
but the,
haywire, hayride thing. I
yeah.
always hear that hayride. Uh, I would say on the radio.
Oh, on the
Yeah,
Elvis channel.
yeah,
Hmm.
on the Elvis radio. They would show. You know, you could just hear the thing. And here is Elvis, and he would be singing this. You know, all his songs.
Yeah,
He actually started on that hayride kind of thing.
that's where they showed him getting his start. Was that
But I
radio?
didn't realize that was, you know, just knowing about hayride, I thought it was more like a farm kind of thing. But
Yeah,
actually, it was like
it was
a good venue, you know.
an actual
Yeah,
live
I didn't
radio
realize that
stage,
it
but
was like that.
but it's still a small town
Yeah,
kind of
and the
venue.
acoustics was not that great. So yeah, that live on Channel XM, you know.
Yeah, it'd be fun to see. I wonder if on YouTube or anything they actually have any footage of like that Christmas show that he did. They spent quite a bit of time focusing on this Christmas show. It's kind of the return of Elvis after, because he had his streak where he was really popular, and then when it kind of was controversial, he ended up. That's when he did his time on his military tour
Right. I didn't
for a couple
realize that.
years, and then had to kind of make his comeback, and that was his comeback.
I didn't realize
That show.
how bad the government was treating him.
Yeah, treating him like a criminal.
Like
Like
a
they
criminal.
wanted to censor him. They wanted to put
Reminded
him in
me
jail for.
reminded me of Muhammad Ali kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
But you know, uh, there was, in fact, I watched on it's either what, one of the shows on TV where Elvis skipped Memphis, took a plane ride, and he ended up in D.C. and he met with the president actually.
Hmm.
President, I think Nixon.
Nixon. Yeah.
Yeah. You should watch that. That is
Huh.
on what do you
YouTube.
call this? One of the YouTube.
Uh-huh.
It's not YouTube. It's Amazon.
Oh, they
Something.
have like a show about that.
Yeah, they have a show.
Okay.
I think it's Amazon.
No bodyguard by himself.
Yeah, he was just
Oh,
alone.
really? Wow.
And he went to DC and he just went direct to the guard
By himself.
by himself,
Wow.
and the
No.
guard didn't want him,
But
you
they
know, because
recognize him.
the guard recognized
He's
him.
wearing his guns.
It's just oh, it's so
So
he
they
was
let him
able
in to
to
meet the president.
yeah, and then
This at the White House.
yeah, at the White
Wow.
House, and Nixon and him, yeah, because at that time Nixon was getting you know, bad publicity about
Hmm.
in the war
Yeah.
and everything, and Elvis wanted to be a what did he want to be? He wanted to be an official,
An ambassador.
No, I say like like a, oh, I can't remember the name of it, but he wanted to be an agent,
Mm.
to help him.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of, you
interesting.
should watch that movie.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
Yeah.
that. I think what's good about watching a show like this is like when you brought up how much of he was treated like a criminal, like this evil person in society. And I think when you look at how far things have come today
Oh,
to where
God.
they were in the
There's nothing
1950s.
wrong about this dancing.
But see, but
Yeah.
that's
But at that
that's
time,
because you grew up with
yeah,
that being kind of the new thing. But for the people who were old and conservative then,
yeah,
they thought, what is this guy doing? This is unacceptable. This is, and of course, there was segregation still at the time. So
right.
I think even for the young people of today, it'd be good for them to see, just because they can they can kind of relate to, or try to have them understand the difference now, where you don't see that type of. I mean, there's still racism and things like that, but not to the level like that, where it's government,
Yeah,
right
that
in your
was really
face,
bad.
how things were back then. And yeah, so for
They,
a white guy singing songs that were black influence, this was
yeah, that
almost
was,
considered, what is this? This is an outrage. We need to stop this. So the thought of that even being something, to even understand now, it's good to know where we came from. This was only 60 or 70 years ago when that happened. So
that's really true. This is something, that the younger generation should watch. But
yeah, there's a little history, and where music evolved from,
yep,
because I think even music today evolved from something else. The music of the 50s came from different, there was, like Elvis's case, there was gospel, there was country that kind of fused together to form rock and roll. And then from there, music has continued to evolve even
and then,
more.
as you know, when Elvis was already getting, I would say, outmoded.
Yeah,
The
getting dated
Beatles were
and old.
coming in, the Rolling Stones were coming in, and that's why he had to stage a big comeback.
Hmm.
Christmas is special, supposedly,
Right.
and but it's just a good movie. We don't want to tell everything about
Yeah.
it because I think,
But there's plenty we couldn't even tell. You have to
yeah,
just experience the way that the actors portray the scenarios.
it's pretty good. The producer, whoever directed that or who wrote the script, I thought they did a good job. You know.
Yeah, it was good. And I was mentioning before you came in, just even the editing style, they did a lot of visual things
Yep.
to create some entertainment, little tricks like with the record spinning. They did some
Yeah.
transitions with that.
Uh,
And I always appreciate how they're able to, in a period piece, they have to recreate old Las Vegas. So they have
oh
to
yeah,
get
I don't know how they
footage
did
where
that.
they put the old casinos up, like the Sands.
Uh-huh.
Um, what are the other
I don't
ones
know
that are
if
there that aren't there anymore?
international. I don't know if that's still existing
Oh
on a
no, I
different
don't think.
name.
Well, I don't recognize that. If it is, it is. I don't think it's
No, I
anywhere what
think
it
it's
looks
still
like.
there, but different name. It's not
Hmm.
international
Yeah, I don't know
anymore.
which hotel that is, but that
Yeah.
was the hotel that Elvis got his sort of Vegas
Mm-hmm.
long run of almost 5 years. 5 years
5 years.
of regular shows there.
Yeah.
But
It's
I, th-
just amazing.
I think the other thing too is that when you think of a lot of musicians, there are a lot whose careers end the same way. You look at Michael Jackson was the king of pop, Elvis was the king of rock.
Prince.
Prince, just those three alone, they all kind of went the same fate. Where I think
All the
you
good singers,
realize
they kind of,
died tragically.
yep,
Yep.
either by airplane or
Some
what.
were like Buddy Holly,
Yeah, Buddy Holly.
Richie Valens,
Yeah,
but the
Richie
ones
Valens.
who I think this, Elvis, Michael, and Prince, you can put them kind of the same category because they were ones who were at some point top of the world.
Correct.
And then as time went by, they all got to that point where they're no longer the top star, and they're
Yep.
trying to keep ways to stay relevant in the music business as their
That's
careers
right.
start to slide. But I think they all have the same thing, where I think it's hard. It's hard physically. You realize that these guys doing what they do on stage day in, night out, traveling and all that, that they do have to turn to medication because their
Yeah,
body
that's the
breaks down. They
thing.
get older. Their body's not the same. They're in a lot of pain. They have injuries, but they have to keep going. Yeah, get him on
You
that
ever see that
stage.
a movie about Jerry Lee Lewis?
Great Balls of Fire,
Yeah.
right? I think, yeah,
Yeah,
it came,
it's pretty
yeah,
good too.
yeah, that was good. Yeah, he was a whole nother
He's another.
thing. But he's I remember we saw him live actually. I think in Vegas years back in the probably 80s or 90s or something, and he was already old at that point, but at least he managed to keep alive. He just got older. Been one of those guys who just slowly kept staying around, and he'll do shows here and there. I don't know if he still performs, but he's got to be really old now. But
there's another one, Liberace. We never.
No, I never saw him.
You never? Oh
No.
my gosh!
Yeah, he was flamboyant.
Oh God,
very unique character.
His costume.
Just like
I think he was one of the first gay pitch performer at during that time. He was good at the piano.
Yeah. So you saw him perform? Perform live
in Vegas? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Tom Jones, stuff like that. But Elvis is the only one that's really, really unique.
Yeah.
And until now, if you are able to just tune into XM, Elvis radio, it's just amazing. You will hear all the stories about Elvis, more than what they have in this movie.
Yeah. They can only focus so much on certain parts. I think Lena at one point said, "Oh, it'd been cool to see Elvis in Hawaii." I think
that one would have with them.
Blue Hawaii.
Yeah, the Blue Hawaii, that would have been good.
They showed that scene where they were showing him kind of simulating water skiing with a fake background. I don't know which movie that was. That was a movie. Yeah, it wasn't actually.
That was one of the Elvis movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But the question, even in the radio, they just mentioned that Elvis had a lot of fans all over the world. The only thing that he has not been able to tour was Japan and England. Apparently, you'll find out more about that in the movie.
Yeah, the story focuses on why.
I hear that all the time on the radio. They were talking about that. And those are the only countries that he has not been able to perform. But regardless, he had a lot of fans out there.
Well, they talked about that satellite broadcast where they reached 1.5 billion people at a multi-city international. So even though he didn't get to travel there, they did a broadcast of satellite, a concert to all these cities across the world. And I think they did reach Tokyo and London and things like that. So. And
until now, Priscilla is the one handling the Presley Enterprises.
Yeah.
But the daughter, I haven't heard anything.
I don't know what she's doing. You remember she had that she was temporarily related, married to Michael Jackson, which was a little strange thing. It didn't last very long.
But that's about it.
And yes, they really haven't heard anything.
They haven't talked about Anna Marie.
Lisa Marie, right?
Lisa Marie.
She makes a brief appearance in a couple times.
Priscilla is always there every week. You would hear her.
Oh, on the radio show?
On the radio show. Because I guess she never married or something, or remarried. Maybe not.
Speaking of the radio show, one thing we didn't talk about when we were in Tennessee, we went to Graceland and we
were interviewed.
I remember you said, "Yeah, the radio, the Elvis channel broadcasts out of here." I said, "Oh, well, let's see what we find." And then sure enough, it was just this little area, this enclosed room, and you're like, "Oh, hey, there's the guy. There's the DJ." And then I think you said, "Maybe we can go inside and meet him." I was like, "Oh, I don't know. We didn't have any appointments." "Oh, let's just go try." We walked in the door, and then next you know, we're just waving at the guy. He's like, "Hey, come on in." And next there, their dad's chatting with them. I think I have this whole thing on video somewhere. But and then next you know, he's like, "Hey, do you want to be on the air? I can do a little interview with you." I was like, "Sure." So you did a quick. Visiting from Seattle interview, and I think you even got to be like the bumper to the next song. And we were trying to go back and listen to it later, but and we never heard it live. Heard a recording of it.
Every time you would hear on the radio, says, "This is Bert and Norbert here from Seattle, Washington," for example.
Yeah.
And
so you haven't seen the.
No, I only just saw it now. So.
Take a picture. Sure.
Well, look. So my parents just repainted their house.
Yeah, you want to
Well,
go
let's
up?
go
You
up.
want to go up and give you a
I
chip?
only saw it in person today. I saw it. My friend actually sent me spoilers. It showed me. Brown, and it repainted to like light blue.
Not dark blue. Dark blue.
Brighter, richer blue. There you go.
I know what. Don't open it, Daddy. Pinukunan pa niya na ano. Nasa anak, no?
My house.